Quarantine has got us thinking about several things. Sitting around, philosophers in us come to the surface, and many of us think more abstractly than before. The inner philosopher in us have a wealth of knowledge that we may not even understand. With a little bit of direction and guidance, you could become an abstract thinker. So without further ado, here is a video about materialism and idealism in philosophy. Before we start, subscribe to Purple Hippo and ring that bell icon to get regular updates on our latest videos. So to start off, let's begin with idealism. The concept is a bit more interesting in our opinion, so we want to start talking about this. In order to understand idealism, you need to understand the idea of perception. We perceive through our senses, and then those perceptions are changed into cognitions, which is a fancy word for our thoughts. So through our senses, we perceive our surroundings. This is important because we will talk about how this is the fundamental core ideas of the idealistic school of thought. So through your perceptions, you create the world around you through your thought processes. Therefore, you give meaning to certain things and then create a reality based on your thoughts. Therefore, you can see how this school of thought is heavily grounded in psychological principles. We now see how important our thoughts are in giving meaning to the reality we live in. The more you internalize the subject experiences which you have, the more you will understand the society we live in. This also means that we all individually make up the society that we live in through our variable thoughts. Idealism is one of the most commonly recurring themes in philosophy. Some of the most famous philosophers in history were supporters of idealism and contributed greatly to the development of this school of thought. These most famous thinkers relating to the school or thought are Plato, Descartes, and Kant. Names which have been synonymous with philosophy and abstract thinking in general. So, on the other hand, we have materialism, a much less abstract way of thinking, because it looks at what is observable in the universe. Materialism is basically a complete contrast to the ideal way of thinking, because it rejects the notion that we need to process our surroundings. It does not believe that there is a deeper state to our mind, the way Freud suggested. Rather, it believes that the mind is a biological organ that creates thoughts through electrical activity and synaptic communication. Materialism solely believes that the world and everything within it, including us, are created by matter. Therefore, anything revolving around processing, perceiving, and creating reality, the way idealism suggests, it's entirely out of the question to the materialist. Since their beliefs are heavily rooted in physics and the promotion of objective reality, they would be the ones to support science. Matter, material objectivity, and the promotion of objective thinking make these philosophers completely different from what of the idealist. The thought process is one that runs parallel to the idea of atheism. Since you cannot see God, he does not exist, according to the materialist. We see the scientists coming through the rational in every aspect of their belief system. They are also likely to reject the idea that we have a soul, or any sort of psychic energy attached to us in any way. According to them, our brains are simply a mass of atoms that function and the most crucial organ in our bodies. So we have highlighted the major themes behind each of these philosophies. Each of these theories is unique in their own right, and their themes have been cultivated for centuries. In the case of idealism, the general themes and traits have been processed for thousands of years since Plato's time. A modern industry society with the development of science and technology further fuels the materialistic school of thought by promoting scientific discoveries every day. Moreover, now more than ever, in the time where diversity of thoughts are promoted, the materialistic school of thoughts grows more than ever. More and more people are likely to support it now than, say, 50 years ago. We seek a stark differences between these thought processes. One suggests that reality is made up of matter and physics. The other suggests that reality is made up of the collective subjective experience of man. To say who is right and who is wrong is not for us to comment on. We are simply here to talk about the two philosophical ideologies before you educate further on the topic. Oh, once you start dipping your foot into philosophy, you sink into it and are surrounded by wealth of ideas, leaving you second-guessing your entire worldview. A subject which has so much to offer, you could find yourself spending hours learning about new theories from various sources. Try it. You might enjoy what the subject has to offer. You never know, it could be an untouched part of your personality which you have never realized. Idealism and materialism is just the tip of the iceberg. Once you get into the finer parts of what the subject has to offer, you will be pleasantly surprised. What are your views on the materialism versus idealism debate? What side of the fence do you stand on, or do you still sit in the middle? Let us know in the comments section below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to Purple Hippo and ring that bell icon to get updates on our latest videos. See you on the next video.